WWE reportedly is potentially planning more departures after the recent releases or lack of contract extension for veteran WWE superstars. We have the ratings for Saturday's edition of AEW Collision on TNT. Liv Morgan's stalker reportedly is arrested outside the WWE Performance Center yesterday. We have the viewership information for the May 26th episode of WWE Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Details on Wardlow's absence from AEW programming. We got the ratings for Friday's edition of SmackDown on the USA Network. Matthew Jackson discusses possibly reviving the Being the Elite series. Details on Las Vegas apparently making a lot of concessions to clear the way for WWE Wrestlemania 42 next year. And AEW President and CEO Tony Khan tells fans to not gatekeep AEW and asks for WWE viewers to be welcomed with open arms. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Before we begin, you can see right there, we're at 22,130 subscribers. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Join the ever-expanding WNU, that being the Wrestling News universe. In addition, you can become a member of the WN365 roster. The link's in the video description below. You can also click the join button or scan the QR code when it appears on the sidebar. Speaking of the sidebar, you can see all upcoming watch-alongs and post-shows we've got here live streaming on the channel, including this weekend for AAA and WWE Worlds Collide, as well as WWE Money in the Bank. Now, let's begin with departures from World Wrestling Entertainment, as we've heard about quite a few over the last 7 days. Following releases in early May, several WWE departures have been announced at the beginning of June. R-Truth noted he had been released by the company, although he is still under contract, and WWE informed the former United States champion that his contract was not being renewed. Carlito and Sarah Logan have also been told by WWE their contracts are not being renewed, and they will be free agents when their deals come to an end. Now, it looks like there may be more than just 3 departures, though, as Brian Alvarez has reported on Wrestling Observer Live that he has been told there may be others that are let go. Quote, "I've been told there might be others as well, so this might not be the end with Valhalla being released," Alvarez said. One name speculated upon as a possible departure from WWE has been The Miz, since he has removed any references to the company from his social media accounts. As of this week, no one had heard about The Miz being let go by WWE. He's been a part of the company for 21 years, having signed back in 2004. Now, speaking of R-Truth, WWE reportedly didn't want wrestlers showing their support for R-Truth on the June 2nd edition of Monday Night Raw. Ron Killings announced on Sunday that he was being released by WWE, with it emerging soon after that WWE had informed Truth they were not renewing his contract. Killings was in his second run with WWE and had been back with the company since 2008. Reports have noted the backstage reaction to Truth's departure was overwhelmingly negative, with many wrestlers publicly expressing their support for the 53-year-old. WWE seemingly didn't want that support to extend to Raw, however, as WrestleVotes has reported on a Backstage Pass Q&A that WWE didn't want talents to wear R-Truth merchandise on Raw. Quote, "Yeah, we've seen it in the past. Guys get hurt, people move on. You see one of their shirts snuck in. That happened last night with Carlito. Dominic Mysterio had a Carlito shirt on TV, but supposedly they didn't want any R-Truth shirts being worn by talent last night," WrestleVotes said. Rhea Ripley did sport an R-Truth shirt backstage, but she was not seen wearing the shirt when she appeared on Raw to shake Stephanie McCur's hand. Instead, Ripley wore a sports bra on the show, which appeared to be under the R-Truth t-shirt initially. If the same WWE request extended to the likes of Carlito and Sarah Logan, who were also informed they were not being renewed, is unknown. Dominic Mysterio did wear a Carlito t-shirt on Raw, although it was obscured slightly by his flannel shirt. WrestleVotes further noted that WWE's decision not to renew R-Truth's contract was motivated by money, adding, quote, "It's just a contract thing. It's a financial thing. Truth, for no reasons than he's been around for a very long time, was making a lot of money. That's the main reason he's no longer part of this company," end quote. There was support for R-Truth as Raw fans repeatedly chanted "We want Truth" throughout the broadcast, while there were fan signs for Killings, including "Resign R-Truth or we riot." Now let's talk about the ratings for AEW Collision this past Saturday, of course, on TNT as well as Max. With Double or Nothing out of the way, All Elite Wrestling are firmly on the road to All In Texas on July 12th, and the latest stop on that journey was the May 31st episode of AEW Collision. Mina Shirakawa bounced back from her loss to timeless Toni Storm with a victory over Sky Blue. Kazuchika Okada defeated Anthony Bowens in an AEW Continental Championship Eliminator match, and both Claudio Castagnoli and CM Al-Awstar Máscara Dorada earned themselves a spot in the AEW International Championship match at Feist Fest today on June 4th. The May 31st episode of Collision was also another situation where AEW benefited from having a strong lead-in, as the show aired immediately after the final episode of Inside the NBA on TNT, which itself followed Game 6 of the Eastern Conference NBA playoff final between the New York Knicks and Indiana Pacers. This lead-in to Collision's average viewership coming in at 504,000 viewers according to WrestleNomics, which is a 43% increase on the previous week's 353,000 viewers and 34% above the trailing 4-week average of 376,000 viewers. Now, in terms of the quarter-hour ratings, these come courtesy of WrestleNomics, and you can see indeed how strong that lead-in was and how it did indeed help AEW Collision. The lead-in gave Collision a total number of 961,000 viewers in the first quarter, but that did slip down to 273,000 viewers by 1:43 a.m. Eastern, the time the show ended. With all that said, the big lead-in also gave Collision a 0.18 number in the key 18 to 49 demographic, a staggering 125% rise on the 0.08 number posted on May 22nd, with 0.08 also being the trailing 4-week average in the demographic. However, the cable and network rankings for Saturday nights have not yet been released at the time of recording, but WrestleNomics were able to confirm that Collision ranked just behind the UFC Fight Night card that aired on ESPN, which averaged 578,000 viewers and posted a 0.19 in the 18 to 49 demographic. As always, we do not have the viewership data for those that watch the show on the Max streaming service. Now, an interesting development when it comes to the Performance Center on Tuesday. Liv Morgan's alleged stalker was arrested outside the WWE Performance Center on Tuesday night. NXT reporter Naji, who was at last night's NXT television taping at the PC, tweeted, quote, "A legit stalker was arrested outside of the PC tonight. Multiple bags of evidence taken in by police officers. I wish I was making this all up, y'all." Now, Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp then confirmed that the arrested individual had been targeting WWE superstar Liv Morgan, writing, quote, "Liv Morgan's stalker was arrested. WWE had been made aware of the situation and called in the authorities. Now, the identity of the individual is unknown at this time. WWE will not be taking any chances after previous incidents where talents have been stalked and, in some cases, attacked." In November 2020, of course, a stalker was arrested at the home of WWE superstar Paige. In May 2023, Philip Thomas was sentenced to 15 years in jail after attempting to kidnap former WWE superstar Sonya Deville at her home in August 2020. Deville later recorded living in fight or flight mode following the kidnapped attempt. So certainly, again, this is a very scary situation. Now let's move on to last week's episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. And Raw on May 26th set the all-time Netflix low numbers, claiming 4.8 million hours viewed and 2.6 million devices viewing. That number makes no sense unless it means only 15% of all viewers watched live, down from the Netflix claim of 80% in February. If that's the case, there were only 390 live views worldwide and about 534,000 total viewers watching live throughout the world. Those are worldwide numbers, not US numbers, and completely implausible given last year the show would have done 1.27 million live viewers in the US alone, let alone all over the world. Realistically, based on 70% of the viewing to be seeing the 2.5-hour version of the show and 30% seeing the 1 hour 43 version of the show, that would end up as 2,118,000 total devices viewed, and with a generous 1.37 viewers per device, that would be around 2.9 million worldwide viewers. For the US, that would translate as a 7-day figure of 805,000 devices and 1.109 million viewers. That would be roughly 937,000 same-day viewers. All figures are all-time lows for the show since the June 1st episode. Now, Netflix figures for the week have it down 4% in total viewing time and down 3.7% in total views from the prior week's number, which was the lowest total viewing time previously and lowest US numbers to date. Now, figures from the likes of F4W Online have declined from last week at 4.7%. This would be a decline of 44.6% from the US viewership of the show the same week last year on the USA Network. Now, in terms of the rankings, the show was listed as number 6 for the week among English-language television shows worldwide. However, that's based on 2.6 million, a number that would only mean 534,000 worldwide watched it live. At 2.118 million devices, it would be number 10 among English-language television shows, and at best, number 32 among all Netflix shows for the week, because there were, at minimum, English-language movies placing ahead. Now, again, if we get any more details on this or reaction to this, we'll let you know in a future video. Details on Wardlow, his absence from AEW program. According to Sean Rossap of Fightful Select, he's got details as to why Wardlow is yet to return. Wardlow is absent from AEW television, and now Fightful say they've learned why. Wardlow last appeared on AEW television in March of 2024 in a world title match against Samoa Joe. 1 year later, Fightful Select reported he was backstage at AEW Revolution, but wasn't planned for the show. Fightful have been able to fill in some of the gaps for his absence and why it's been so long. Fightful have been told that Wardlow suffered what is believed to be a labrum injury in the spring of 2024. At some point during his hiatus, he was also involved in a car accident. Now, it was made clear to Fightful that the car accident didn't cause the injury, but indeed it made it worse. Wardlow landed what is said to be a, quote, very appropriate and special, end quote, television role in the earlier part of 2025. Since then, he's been cleared to return to the ring. However, upon meeting with AEW President and CEO Tony Khan, all parties agreed that it wouldn't serve anyone well just to bring him back briefly and take him off again for the TV role. Wardlow has a significant amount of time left on his AEW contract and will not be leaving any time soon. Now let's go back to ratings here and talk about Friday's episode of SmackDown. Now, viewership and ratings information for the May 30th episode of WWE SmackDown has been revealed. Jedi Goodman reports that WWE SmackDown on May 30 drew 1.383 million viewers on the USA Network. Now, this is roughly in line with the same number, that being 1.383 million viewers that the show drew last Friday on the USA Network as well. Friday's episode scored a 0.34 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. That is actually up 3% from last week's 0.33 demo rating that we saw for the May 9th episode on USA Network 2. Now, let's go over to AEW and talk about possibly Being the Elite returning to AEW, at least on YouTube. Now, over a year since its last episode aired, AEW's Matthew Jackson has shared an interesting update regarding a potential Being the Elite revival. Debuting in May 2016, Being the Elite began as a YouTube travel vlog for the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, before evolving into a scripted show used to advance characters and storylines that would sometimes translate to television. The show continued until the fall of 2023, being replaced by Being the Dark Order. However, with it being 9 months since any uploads on the BTE channel, many fans have hope for the show to return in some form. Speaking during a Q&A on he and his wife Dana's travel YouTube channel, Matthew Jackson revealed that one unnamed higher-up contacted him regarding a BTE return, with a movie of the show also discussed. He said, quote, "We've actually discussed putting in real money and doing a movie. I don't know. I've actually been contacted recently by, I won't say who it was, but somebody high up in AEW about bringing it back, and I don't know." While Jackson is unsure regarding BTE potentially returning, he discussed how he would love to release a documentary using unreleased footage from the show. Quote, "It would be fun to do a documentary on everything too, because there's so much footage, hours and hours and hours of unused footage. Brandon has a whole library that nobody is even aware of. Me and Nick told Brandon for years, just shoot everything, anything, and everything, even the things that are really taboo, like putting matches together, wrestlers who don't have their masks on. We have all that stuff, hours and hours and hours of that, because I always knew that one day we would probably do some kind of documentary on everything, on our lives, a proper documentary on our whole career. That's one project I would love to do before it's over. We'll see. I don't know. I have a lot of big dreams." Now let's go over to WrestleMania next year, and potentially WrestleMania once again for the second consecutive year being in Las Vegas. Now a major update has emerged regarding the new location of next year's WWE WrestleMania 42 event. On May 22nd, it was revealed that WWE no longer planned to host 2026's WrestleMania 42 event in New Orleans, Louisiana, despite the company officially announcing that the event would be coming to the city just 3 months prior. Instead, WWE announced that Money in the Bank would be coming to New Orleans on August 29, 2026, with a future WrestleMania coming at an unspecified date. While the new location of WrestleMania 42 has not yet been confirmed by WWE as of the time recording, reports have suggested that the event will be returning to Las Vegas, Nevada for a second year in a row. In a major update on the situation, Brian Alvarez revealed on Wrestling Observer Live that several hurdles have now been cleared for WrestleMania to return to Vegas, with an official announcement expected soon. He said, quote, "As of today, they're still not confirmed for anywhere, but this morning they cleared several hurdles that were in the way of WWE going to WrestleMania in Las Vegas. Vegas is apparently making a lot of concessions to clear the way for WrestleMania in Vegas. I was told that as of today, it's almost a done deal. One of the issues was an issue with the stadium. This is not going to be in the Sphere. It's looking like it would be in the stadium. Apparently, there was an unannounced concert, but the concert was close enough to the planned date of WrestleMania. There was not going to be enough time to set up, and the concert was unwilling to move. And then apparently, there was an issue with the convention center, which is where they were going to do all of their, whatever it's called now, WWE World, etc. But there were some issues with the convention center as well. I'm not sure what hurdles were cleared, but several were this morning. So it's looking like probably very, very shortly, we're going to get the news that next year's WrestleMania is officially in Las Vegas, Nevada." And finally, Tony Khan has told fans not to gatekeep AEW. Now, like the 1999 Creed song, AEW President Tony Khan wants new fans to be welcomed into All Elite Wrestling with arms wide open. AEW have been generating momentum since the beginning of 2025, while WWE have suffered from some PR blunders of their own making. Criticism has been labelled at Triple H's booking, as well as departures from WWE of popular talents, with some pro wrestling fans viewing AEW as a potential alternative to WWE for their pro wrestling fix. One fan on X joked about if fans should gatekeep AEW or welcome in current WWE viewers. That tweet actually generated a response from AEW President and CEO Tony Khan, who replied, quote, "Please gatekeep nothing, sir. Please welcome these people to AEW with arms wide open." The fan simply replied, "Fair enough." Now, All Elite Wrestling has seen a slight uptick in fans since Dynamite and Collision began to air on Max at the beginning of the year, with reports noting that AEW Dynamite is averaging between 1 million and 1.2 million viewers across TBS and Max within 24 hours of airing. Within 3 days of their air date, around 1.5 million viewers watch Dynamite on TBS, while Collision receives approximately 1 million viewers on TNT within 3 days of the show's air date. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As you can see right there, we're at 22,130 subscribers. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Join the ever-expanding WNU, that being the Wrestling News universe. In addition, you can become a member of the WN's 365 roster. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. You can also scan the QR code when it appears on the sidebar. Speaking of the sidebar, you can also see all upcoming live streams we've got here on the channel. That includes watch-alongs and post-shows this weekend, Saturday, June 7th, for WWE and AAA Worlds Collide, as well as WWE Money in the Bank will be live with a watch-along and a post-show for that show. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.